Hey guys, the Ramos Online here, and today we're taking a look at Mega Mai Waifu. Mai Waifu has always been my favourite Pokemon ever since it was introduced in Generation 3, and in Generation 6, it got a Mega Evolution. Though you've probably already known this since last year October, but hey ho. Despite having a base stat total of 518, its stat spread wasn't really anything interesting. Pokemon like Alakazam outclassed Mai Waifu in both special attack and speed, so it wasn't really used. However, in Generation 6, it gets the ability Pixelate, which turns all normal type moves into fairy type moves, and any move that is affected by Pixelate also has its damage increased by 30%. Due to Mai Waifu being part fairy, it also gets Stab, which can make for some very devastating combos. Now, there are many ways to train a Mai Waifu, however these are the two I prefer. You can either go modest and put your EVs into HP and special attack to make full use of the special defense boost it got through Mega Evolution to make Mai Waifu a threat that will stick around. Or you can give it a timid nature and put your EVs into special attack and speed to make a slightly speedy sweeper. Now, while Mai Waifu gets two usable abilities it can use before Mega Evolution, the one I prefer is Trace, which copies the opposing Pokemon's ability and gives it to Mai Waifu. Now, while this is a Mega Mai Waifu guide, do not feel the need to Mega Evolve as soon as you send her out, because you're going to be giving her Trace, as I said earlier. If you can trace an ability that makes her a threat without the need to Mega Evolve, abuse it before you even think to hit that Mega Evolution button. Abilities that you can trace which makes her even more powerful would include Multiscale and Fur Coat, which can boost her survivability, and Parental Bond and Adaptability, which can give her more damage. Like other psychic types, Mai Waifu gets a lot of coverage moves. Hyper Voice and Echoed Voice I will go over in a few minutes. So Psychic and Psy-Shock are your go-to stab psychic type moves. I prefer Psy-Shock as it gives you a way to deal with especially defensive walls that might try to switch in to force you to switch out. Thunderbolt gives us some good coverage against water and flying types. However, if you already have that thunder type coverage in your party, give it Energy Ball instead. Shadow Ball allows her to counter any ghost types or psychic types that might try to switch into her. Due to being a fairy, she's now weak to steel and poison. So give her Hidden Power Ground to help counter these, and it also gives her a way to reliably attack Fire-type Pokemon who wouldn't otherwise be damaged very much by her Fairy-type moves. If you're going for a tanky Mai Waifu, you can always give her Will-O-Wisp to help make up for the low defensive stats, Wish to help her have some sustain, and Protect to help make sure she doesn't get knocked out while waiting for the wish to happen. Now, you might have noticed that I didn't include Moonblast and Dazzling Gleam in the list of moves. That's because of Hyper Voice and Echoed Voice. Both of these moves are affected by Pixelate, so they both get their base power increased by 30%. Hyper Voice already has a base power of 90, so when boosted by Pixelate and then by Stab, it has a base power of around 150, maybe more. That is a Hyper Beam every turn! The only way you can teach a Mai Waifu Hyper Voice is in Generation 5's move tutors, so keep this in mind. You're gonna have to do all of your breeding in Generation 5 if you want to bring a Hyper Voice Mai Waifu across to Generation 6. If you don't own the Generation 5 games, don't worry, Echoed Voice is there to help you. Its base power is 40, so it is weaker than things like Moonblast and Dazzling Gleam. However, it does go up by 30% thanks to Pixelate. Echoed Voice gains an additional 20 base power for every consecutive turn it's used, potentially making it hit harder than Hyper Voice if you can get it off several turns in a row with no breaks. The only other thing to keep in mind when using a Mega Mai Waifu are the things it's weak and strong against. Due to the retyping to Psychic Fairy, it lost 2 weaknesses, gained 2 weaknesses, gained an immunity, and gained a resistance. Mai Waifu is still weak to Ghost type, but it lost the weakness to Bug and Dark types. It gained a weakness to Poison and Steel, and now resists fighting types by 1/4 rather than just a half. And it is completely immune to dragons. So there you have it, that is my Mega Mai Waifu guide. If you liked the video, then be sure to favourite, subscribe, thumbs up, like, whatever YouTube's currently doing. Stay tuned for more, and... I'm sorry, what? Gardevoir. Oh, yeah, that is what most people call this, yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, and here is a video of Gardevoir being awesome, as always.